Hello, hello, and welcome to my thought on this interesting Monday in London. And I was thinking about how dissatisfied everyone is with their body image. Everybody is so dissatisfied with their body image. And what that reminds me of is the 50s with the diet crazes, because my mother was always on a diet. And I think we still have them now. We still have them now. But my mother did the grapefruit and egg diet. She always said she gained weight just by looking at a loaf of bread, and she went on this grapefruit diet. So she would cook these beautiful meals for us and sit and eat grapefruit while she watched us eating it. And you ate grapefruit and hard-boiled eggs, and that's all you ate. But my funniest story about the diets is my Aunt Dorothy. My Aunt Dorothy was of a size. She was of a size, and so was my Uncle Phil. And they were very wealthy, and they had a very big house which accommodated these very big, ample people. But I do not think they were obese. They were just really big. But my Aunt Dorothy was wanted to be glamorous, and she was always on a diet. So the diet that she did, that I've always loved, was the Jello and steak diet. The idea is that Jello, for those of you in the UK that don't know what Jello is, it's sweetened gelatin with fruit juice. So you get like strawberry and strawberry and sugar and gelatin. And it was a dessert that in the States was called Jello. And steak, of course, you all know what steak is. It's a cow broiled. Um, and the idea was that you can eat all you want, and you will lose weight, because the theory is that there's just so much you can eat of that sweetened fruit juice and steak. So my Aunt Dorothy went on that diet, but my Aunt Dorothy, she had a cook, and the cook's name was Lee, and so she would tell the cook, okay, for breakfast I'm going to have a filet mignon and wrap it in bacon if you would, and then for the Jello, could you whip some cream cheese into the Jello because it makes it taste better? And then for lunch, you would have a strip steak, and she would have mushroom sauce, and then she would have the Jello, and she would say, "Would you mind putting some fruit and nuts in it to make it taste a little better?" And for dinner, she would have a porterhouse steak, and with it she would have some Jello, and probably it was lime, but pineapple and whipped cream in it. And she ate this, and she had a gigantic diet. And at the end of a month, instead of losing 10 pounds, she had gained 10 pounds. She was absolutely beside herself. The thing the reason for my saying this is we spend so much time worrying about our body image, worrying about how we look. But I wish we would spend that much time thinking about what we are. And the stories that I have to say about this is that, as you must know, plastic surgery is on the rise. It's absolutely going through the roof. And everybody is doing it. And if they're not doing that, they're doing Botox and they're doing laser treatments to the point where nobody's going to know what a real human body looks like. We're going to end up going to a human zoo, I think, to see what the bodies looked like before everybody started shaving, waxing, Botoxing, and lifting and stitching. But I'm always reminded of when I was much younger, in my 50s, and that was much younger. Um, I had, as a result of the bulimia, I had a very distended stomach, and my doctor was afraid that I would lose my balance, and I have very bad osteoporosis because my center of gravity was off. So she talked to a doctor, and his name was Dr. Norton, and he was absolutely lovely. He was a gastroenterologist, and she talked him into giving me literally a tummy tuck, but it was for medical reasons, not because not cosmetic. And because he was used to just going in there and taking out your appendix or ripping up your intestines, he decided to get a man named Dr. Kaufman in, who was a plastic surgeon. And you know that in America, plastic surgeons get immense amount of money, but because they certified that I needed this surgery, it was considered a medical procedure and was covered by my insurance, which meant that I only had to spend a couple $1,000s extra. That's the insurance in America. So my doctor told me that they had discovered that I had a hernia. Uh, and I thought, gee, that's really funny because I'm a real Jewish princess and I never lift anything. So I'm on the operating table, and in those days they shaved you. And this Dr. Kaufman is going to do this surgery. And Dr. Norton explained it was because he was not used to doing that kind of surgery where you had to get rid of the extra flesh, et cetera, et cetera. And Dr. Kaufman said, well, he was standing there, and he said, I won't be able to do any follow-up on this because I'm leaving the next day for my vacation, but my assistant here, whom of course I couldn't even see behind the mask and under the gown, will take care of you. And he was a doll, by the way. I don't remember his name, but I remember what a nice man he was. So Dr. Kaufman did the surgery, but because he was only getting paid insurance prices for a tummy tuck, but he was only getting insurance for gastrointestinal surgery, he decided that he wasn't going to finish the job. So what he did is he did shorten the muscles in my stomach, and I have a very flat stomach, but he didn't take away the extra flat flesh. So Flasha had another 10 years, and I have a doctor who was very into body image. She was wonderful. She was in Half Moon Bay. Her name was Deborah, and she was very into body image, and she was doing an examination. She looked at my stomach, which has a flap, and she said, "Oh my God, that's terrible." And I said, I hadn't even thought about it. I really hadn't thought about it. She said, "No." She said, "I have a friend who does plastic surgery, and they can take that off, and and he'll give you a really good price because he's a Stanford graduate like you are. It'll be fine." So I went to see this man, and I really was not into it. I don't like surgery, and I don't wear bikinis, and I really was not into it. But I went there, and this absolutely lovely man, and they had me all draped, with just my stomach sticking out, and I had little napkins to cover all the important parts, and I'm ready to see the doctor. And the doctor came in, did not look at my stomach at all. The first thing he did was look at my face, and he said, "Oh my God, what I can do for you." By this time, I'm in my late 60s. He said, "Oh, what I can do for you. As a matter of fact, no, I was in my early 70s. And he walked out, and he came back with a big notebook that had pictures that were before and after. And I was looking at these pictures, these women who looked like they were about 80 in the before and 90 in the before. And in the after, they looked like they were 88. I really saw very little difference. And then he said, and I said to him, what is this? He said, "Well, I could do this for you." He said, and I said, "Well, how much would it cost?" And he said, "Well, it'll probably be $20,000. He said, "But I'll throw in the stomach for nothing." And I thought to myself, even looking back on that now, what a shame. Well, I was not in there for my face. My face it was already too late. This is what my face was like. But what a shame that man couldn't see that that he was going to do nothing for me except rob my pocketbook. And if I had spent more time on myself and not on my tummy and my face, I would be a better person. And so that's the thought that I'm leaving you with. I'm leaving you with today, that if you spend time on yourself instead of your body, you will be a much happier person. And thank you so much for joining me for my thought for today.